Hi, it's Linda McKendry, merchandising and display consultant specializing in small independently owned and operated businesses, mostly retail. And we're looking at the ABCs of effective displays. And part one was a list of the A's, the B's, and the C's. And part two was the A's, with the most important one being to ask the right questions. And now we are in part three, which is the B's, and we're going to look at why bigger is better, whether it's bigger groups or bigger items. Let's look at how this works. Well, let's look at the B's. The B's are be bold and brave, but learn the basics of border, what's around your display, background, what's behind your display, and balance, how the display looks. That helps to beckon buyers, invite them to come in, attract more attention. Remember that at a glance and from a distance, bigger is better. I've got lots of examples for you, so let's go. The three things that catch the eye the most are light, contrast, and movement. A perfect example of that is the lights moving of a theater marquee outside. That's light, contrast, movement, all happening at night, and it's in a very effective display to catch attention. So to show bigger products, show bigger props, show bigger groups of smaller products, similar products, a choice of colors, patterns, and styles will give you the most effective displays. Here's an example of a bigger product. Here's an example of really bigger products, the teddy bears that are sold by Home Depot. Then we can see that these props, these are mega props. You can see how big these sunflowers are. That's getting a lot of attention from the detail as you look in this store. And most of my clients over the years have been in gift, gourmet, garden, and fashion, with a lot of smaller items in a store. Here's an example close up where we can see that the props have attracted us to the display. They've been up nice and high where they're seen from a distance. And as we come closer, we see the other things happening. We see here that we have groups of smaller products in here. We now have groups of similar products, and we have showing a choice of colors, patterns, and styles. So as a whole, this entire display is incredibly effective because it's using some of the bigger is better principles. Let's look at background, border, and balance. They all work together. So I'm going to break them down on this slide, and then I'm going to show you other examples and explain how all of them work together. First thing for background is look for contrast, look for reinforcement, look for products that work for a good background, and use fabrics, blind, paper, foam board, those kind of things if you need to. For border, we're looking at grouping and spacing and leaving space around displays and separating them from each other. Frame the display. For example, a shelving, shadow box, fixtures, a lot of those automatically frame the display. And then for balance, we're looking at tall items to the back, short items to the front, connecting similar items by either stacking, grouping, or connecting them visually, and letting the eye follow easily. Bigger is better for smaller items when it's a fixture. So the fixture here is the biggest item in this display, but it's also creating background and border for these small little vignettes of items that have been categorized in here. The background you can see is the charcoal and the dark floor, so everything that's light and bright is showing up and making this display very effective. Also, this same client, when we moved her to her new location, I found this fixture in her back room, which was not being used. And what I always do with my clients is I go through and measure and take pictures of all their existing fixtures, and we reuse them as much as possible, even if we have to just refinish them or repaint them or upgrade them in some way. In this particular case, the upgrade was taking off this door handle so that the customers would not open it and look in there. And that then made a space for all the smaller accessories to be stored as the backup stock. Here we can see too that we have the different groups showing. We have a balance in here of the items that are pulling our eye around, and these two items are connecting the backup stock down here. And here we have all the fragrances lined up that are available in this Lampe Berger display. Up here, we're taking advantage of this because of the height, and we're using larger items here to be seen from a distance. So these things, the background, the border, the balance, are all working to make these very, very effective displays. This is a sketch from the handouts, and what I'm showing here is a theme display of cooking, baking, things that would be sold in a gourmet shop. And what you're seeing is cookies, the accessories, utensils, pot holders, cookbooks, different things, cookie jars that all relate to this theme. And to create a background for it, which will also help create a border, my suggestion was a piece of cardboard cut out like a big cookie with a bite out of it, and then blobs of chocolate brown or raisin colors on there, which everybody knows what it is, and hanging that with clear fishing line to just stop the eye here and make this much more effective by pulling the eye into the middle. Another sketch shows what I often do with gourmet, and that is using either trays or placemats and putting one behind and one underneath it, because your eye is looking straight here as a background, and then you have a background when you're looking down at it if it's below eye level. And then you can see the balance here is where we have put everything so it's all visible. And my favorite thing to do is to take the lid off of a jar that has a lid and then fill this with something else, which either with product, which I've done over here, or with props, which is what I was showing here. And these are both tricks using background, border, and balance to make effective smaller displays. You always have a bigger impact, even if it's a very small space and a very few products, when you group them and space them and give them the background, the border, and the balance. You can see here that the background is this beautiful color that looked good behind everything in their store. And you can see that part of the border is the shelf and part of the border is the space being left around it or between the two separate displays. And then we can see that the balance here is just that these are lined up so that they can be more visible. They're slightly above eye level. These are at eye level, slightly below eye level, so you can see that how they are arranged in here. And this is a very effective display. Another example would be something like this, where we not only have the background, border, and balance happening, but we have the mega big is better props here. And we have them used in a container, which just gives it more height and more effect, and it actually stops the eye at this display here. Even though the other ones are peeking through. You can see the background of the cabinet, the background of the store, even the ceiling color is fitting all in with the total theme of the display of the products that are shown in this gourmet shop. Again, going back to the other things we've talked about, we are showing groups now. We're bringing groups together of colors, patterns, and styles to be chosen in this display. So we can show more in a smaller space and still have it very effective. Bigger impact is better when you go with repetition. You can make a stronger statement by still having a lot of different colors, patterns, and styles to show in one single venue. So we can see here that the top one, we have got fall colors happening here with a little bit of blue and a hunter green. And then the next shelf, we've got all our pinks together with the purple. The next shelf, we've got the red, the burgundy red with the brighter reds and the more peach colors that fit in with that. And then we've separated that with the blues, and then last but not least, the neutrals. And by doing this, though, by repeating the layout, by repeating the way they are arranged, it is giving a bigger impact than into so much product in such a small space that you wouldn't otherwise have if you tried to mix this all up. Look for big ways to better displays with all the tips, tricks, and examples that we've given you. And this completes the part 3, bigger is better. And next part is part 4. We're looking at controlling creative communication, or as we say, cash in on creative communication. So for more retail repair help, then just comment, like, share, subscribe, select the bell, go to todaysdisplays.com for more resources, and I'll talk to you soon.